I'm back out here on the South Downs on my way to go and record the piano that I've been wanting to sample, just to give it a try. I'm not expecting this to be the final go at this, but just to try and experiment a little bit, maybe with different mic positions, just practice the technique. I've been practicing the actual sampling part at home so far using my Roland FP80 digital piano, so kind of got an idea how it's going to go, but it will certainly be interesting when I try and use the real piano. And the first thing I need to do is go and get myself some microphones. I've got a couple of AKG microphones, so I'm going to give a try, that are ones I've had for ages. So we're going to give those a try, but I've also got a drummer friend who's going to lend me a couple of other mics. So I'm going to go and pick those up now, and then we'll go and sort of capture the piano. So that's that all set up. I've got the mics currently in an XY stereo pair position. I'm just thinking that might be quite nice as a sort of, as if you were sat right in front of the piano yourself playing it. That's kind of what I'm going to try to get from the sound, rather than a very up close sound of the piano. I want to sort of feel as if you're sat behind it. So I'm going to give that a go. I've got everything set up. So this is my stereo pair. It's some Sonotronics STC 15s that I borrowed off my drummer mate, who tends to use them as overheads. And they're going directly into my Focusrite Scarlett audio interface. And I've put my laptop on a music stand here just to kind of prop it up. And I've updated the template with the slightly revised tempos that Christian posted in his most recent video. And a pair of HD 215 Sennheisers. I've also put a blanket behind the piano. Just, I'm not sure how important this is going to be in terms of the sound. I just thought it might deaden out any sort of reflections I'm getting off from this quite small room that I'm going to be sampling in. That's a few takes with that mic position. And what I'm going to try now is a slightly different idea here. So this is a 3:1 ratio stereo pair. So in this case, the ratio between the two mics needs to be 3 times the distance from the mic to the sound source. So I've kind of got this 15 centimeters and then 45 centimeters between them. I believe this is to kind of help out with phasing issues. Let's see how it goes. Okay, so that's that all recorded. Be interesting to see how the results come out. I think it's time to get back to the studio now and get the editing going. So here's the project loaded up with all the samples now chopped up. So I've done that using the transient detection. Seems to have worked quite well, and you can see I wasn't perfect on every downbeat. What we're seeing at the top, we've got these pink ones. That's everything recorded in the XY position. That was the first mic setup I had, and then we've got the 3:1 ratio mic position in the dark blue. And then for each one we've got piano, mezzo piano, forte, and then the same thing with the pedal down. I'm not necessarily expecting to use all these layers. I just wanted to kind of record them all, see what sounded quite nice. Definitely something I noticed pretty quickly, as I've edited this, and particularly when I start playing it, is I'm not really getting exactly the same level for each of the samples. So you can see some are definitely peaky and some not. So, ideally within each of these levels, then the sample would be kind of at least the same sort of maximum volume. So if anyone's got any tips on ways of getting that a bit more even as you're doing the sampling, other than just, I guess, practicing it, that would be fantastic to know any tips. So let's load up ESX24. So the first one of these is the XY position microphones. So that was the pink samples. And you can see I've loaded each one into its own zone. So each of those different things are zoned up quite nicely. And then what I've done in terms of the groups, let's view all here. Then I've got the piano samples going in a fairly quiet range and then the mezzo forte in the sort of the middle of it, and then occasionally hitting the forte. But in addition, because we've got a pedal and non-pedal, you'll notice I've got the select group by and then a control message, and the control message is 64, which is your sustain pedal. And with the sustain pedal, because it's on and off, basically anything 63 or less is going to be off, 64 and above is going to be on. And so you'll see when it's in the 64 to 127, then we're using the samples from the pedal zone. So let's give that a little play. So something that I've noticed a little bit here is sort of the timbre changes just on some of these samples, and I guess that's some of the leveling. So if we listen to these here, there's quite a difference in the timbre, even though it's supposed to be in the sort of same range. So definitely that's something that I'm going to have to work on. And if we take a look at the 3-1 samples, definitely you're going to hear a bit more of a stereo width, because of course the mics were that bit further apart. So let's just give that one a little play as well. And having seen a few of the other recordings, the winter piano, the wonky piano and others, I was trying to think about what would be the name I would give this particular piano. And for me, I mean, the story behind this piano is very simple. It's one of me learning the piano. It's one of my mum and the way she used to use the piano, you know, when she was teaching. So I think, you know, really the heart of this piano and the sort of sound that I've tried to capture is really that of warmth, of, you know, the sort of full warm sound. And I guess, to me, I guess this really is a family piano. So I think that's what I'm going to call it for now, is the family piano.